and welcome everyone to the Daily News Analysis of 8th of October 2023। तो आज के इम्पोर्टेंट आर्टिकल देख लेते हैं हिंदू न्यूज़पेपर से। पहला जो है इजराइल एट वार एज हमास अटैक लीव्स 200 डेड, पेज नंबर 1। GST Council affirms 28% tax on online betting from October 1। Then ISRO plans Gagagan unmanned flights test gears for aboard the mission। Ganga Bin Canal pose a threat to dolphins, predict. Now a more efficacious, inexpensive malaria vaccine. Then significance of quantum dots in nanotechnology, new tools to fathom the world of electronics। Then how was mRNA research used to fight COVID। तो ये सारे देख लेते हैं। 8-9 आर्टिकल्स आज हैं। चलिए शुरू करते हैं। पहला जो है Israel at war as Hamas attack leaves 200 dead। Palestinian Islamist group Hamas launched the biggest attack on Israel in years on Saturday, killing at least 200 people and claiming it had taken dozens of hostages in a surprise assault, combining gunmen crossing into Israel and a barrage of rockets fired from Gaza. More than 1,000 people have been wounded. Israeli rescue service Jaka said a Reuters photographer saw multiple bodies lying in a street of the southern town of Sderot. Israel said the Iran-backed group had declared war as its army confirmed fighting with militants in several Israeli towns and military bases near Gaza, and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to retaliate. Our enemy will pay a price to the type of which it has never known, he said. We are in a war and we need military response. The Israel military said it had responded with airstrikes into Gaza, where witnesses reported hearing heavy explosion and multiple dead and wounded being carried into hospitals. The Israeli military said Navy forces killed dozens of militants trying to infiltrate Israel by sea. At least 198 people in Gaza Strip have been killed and at least 1,610 wounded in Israel retaliation, the Palestinian Health Ministry said. Hamas Deputy Chief Saleh al-Aruri told Al Jazeera that the group was holding a big number of Israeli captives, including senior officials. He said Hamas had enough captives to make Israel free all Palestinians in its jail. Hamas said the attack was driven by what it said were Israel's escalated attacks on Palestinians in the West Bank, Jerusalem, and against Palestinians in the Israel prisons. This is the day of the greatest battle to end the last occupation on earth, Hamas military commander Mohammed Deif said, announcing the start of the operation in a broadcast on Hamas media and calling on Palestinians everywhere to fight. The attack marked an unprecedented infiltration into Israel by an unknown number of Hamas gunmen crossing from the Gaza Strip, and the heaviest blow for Israel in the conflict with Palestinians since the suicide bombing of the second Intifada some 2 decades ago. The next GST Council affirms a 28% tax on online betting from October 1. The Goods and Service Tax Council on Saturday lowered the tax rates on certain millet-based products, tweaked the age-related norms for members of the much-awaited GST Appellate Tribunal, and ceded the taxation rights on extra-neutral alcohol to the states while clearing several long-hanging issues. The council also signaled that there would be no backpedaling on the 28% levy to be imposed on bets made in online gaming, casinos, and horse racing from October 1. Despite 13 states not having passed enabling laws yet, tax demand worth an estimated 1.5 lakh crores served on e-gaming firms for the prior period were also discovered, but it was asserted that the amended GST law is not retrospective in nature. The notice has issued to gaming firms for recovering taxes for the period of up to September 30 were based on the law as it exited for betting activities. The council was told when ministers from Delhi and Chhattisgarh raised the issue, the Supreme Court is expected to take a view on the tax demands for the prior period on an appeal filed by the Revenue Department against the a Karnataka High Court decision that dismissed a tax demand of over 21,000 crore served on games cut. 18 states have amended laws. Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman said that Delhi's finance minister had raised concerns about the impact on the gaming industry, while Goa minister flagged the impact on casinos. The Delhi minister concerns were more on the lines of taxing them. Online gaming will kill the sunrise industry. Our youth needs in this industry, and also then taking up the issue of the notices that have gone to these companies. Of course, she also highlighted that this decision has been discussed over 2 to 3 years, and if the decision taken by council is going to hurt the young and youthful industry that has so much prospects as so on. She said Revenue Secretary Sanjay Malhotra said that at least at the latest count 18 states has passed the necessary changes to their GST laws through ordinance or amendments to make the 28% gaming levy effective from October 1. GST says, asked if the recent trends of the highest GST revenues could lead to swifter rationalization of the GST rate structure, Mrs. Sitharaman said this was not discussed in the council, adding that no call has been taken on the rationalization exercise yet. The council decided to meet in the future to work a prospective plans on imposing a cess or surcharge on top of GST levies and how those surcharges could be used after March 2026 when the GST compensation cess used to recompense states for joining the indirect tax regime is expected to be phased out. Meanwhile, the tax rates on some goods and services were clarified or tweaked along with measures to facilitate trade and explicitly lay out procedures on the tax treatment where confusion prevailed. For instance, an emerging dispute on the treatment of guarantees issued by director of companies for corporate loans has been settled by the statement by stating that they will not attract GST guarantees issued by companies to their subsidiaries will attract 18% GST on 1% of the guarantee offered or the actual consideration whichever is higher. Taxpayers have also been granted an additional window till January 31, 2024 to file appeals against pending cases that were filed by the Revenue Department till March 2023 by paying a slightly higher portion of the disputed tax levy as a pre-deposit. ITBP on conducting patrol along China border. Home Ministry. The Indo-Tibetan Border Police conducted 2,899 patrol along the China border between April and December in 2022, according to the 22-23 annual report of the Union Home Ministry published on Friday. The ministry said ITBP ensured the security of the border and remained vigilant during highlight and security scenario along Indo-China border. It added that the patrols were conducted to keep a strict vigil. The number of patrols, around 300 a month, are said to have increased after the latest border row with China became in 2020. Indian soldiers were killed in violent clashes with the Chinese People's Liberation Army (PLA) in eastern Ladakh on June 15, 2020. There are at least 26 patrolling points out of the 65 such points in the eastern Ladakh. There are not being patrolled by Indian troops since April-May 2020, though the two countries have held several rounds of talks to resolve the border issue. In eastern Ladakh, several areas that were being patrolled earlier have been turned into buffer zones, with the Chinese also not sending troops. Patrolling points are often used to assert territorial claims along the undefined line of actual control. There is no mutual agreed border on several stretches. In September 2020, Defense Ministry Rajnath Singh had informed Parliament that the face-off with the Chinese PLA happened because patrols were interrupted and there was No commonly delineated LAC, the ITBP mans 180 borders outpost along the 3,480 kilometer border with the China in the western middle and eastern Himalayas, starting from the Karakoram Pass in Ladakh in the west to Jachepla in Arunachal Pradesh in the east. The ITBP conducted short and long range patrols, special missions, and land patrol to dominate unmanned gaps along the China border. And officials said that depending on the weather and operational requirement, each border outpost typically sends up to 10 patrols a month according to its perceptions of the border. The long range patrols could last up to 30 days. The official added India has been stepping up its vigil along the China border and on Friday on and on February 15, the Cabinet Committee on Security approved raising 7 new ITBP battalion comprising 9,400 personnel for deployment. At least 47 new border outposts and 12 staging camps are under construction in the state. The outposts were sanctioned in January 2020. The next ISRO plans Gaganyaan unmanned flight test gears for abort mission. The Indian Space Research Organization, who is planning to commence an unmanned flight test for the Gaganyaan mission, has started to make preparation for flight test vehicle aboard the mission 1 TB-D1. Preparation for the abort mission, which demonstrates the performance of the crew escape system, are underway. The ISRO posted on X. Though the space agency has not announced the date, the abort mission is expected by October, and from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota, the ISRO said the astronauts would remain in a pressurized Earth-like atmospheric condition in the crew model during the Gaganyaan mission. The CM for the Gaganyaan mission is in different stages of development. For the TB-D1, the CM is an unpressurized version that has completed its integration and testing and is ready to ship to the launch complex. This unpressurized CM version has to have an overall size and mass of actual Gaganyaan CM. It houses all the system for the deceleration and recovery with its complete set of parachutes, recovery aids, actuation system, and pyros. The avionics system in CMR in a dual resultant mode configuration for navigation, sequencing, telemetry, instrumentation, and power. The CM in this mission is extensively instrumented to capture the flight data for evaluation of the performance of various systems. The CM will be recovered after touchdown in the Bay of Bengal using a dedicated vessels and a diving team from the Indian Navy. The ISRO said the test vehicle is a signal stage liquid rocket developed for this abort mission. The payloads consist of CM and crew escape system with their fast-acting solid motors along with the CM fairing, CMF and interface adapting adapters. The flight will simulate the abort condition during the ascent trajectory corresponding to a Mach number of 1.2 encountered in the Gaganyaan mission. CES with CM will be separated from the test vehicle at an altitude of about 17 kilometers. Subsequently, the abort sequence will be executed autonomously, commencing with the separation of CES and deployment of the series of parachutes, finally culminating in the safe touchdown of the CM in the sea, 10 kilometers from the coast of Sriharikota. It addressed the CM after integration underwent various electrical testing at ISRO's facility, including an acoustic test, and was dispatched to the SDSC on August 13. It will undergo vibration test and pre-integration with the CES before final integration to the test vehicle at the launch pad. This mission with the CN is a significant milestone for the overall Gaganyaan program as a near complete system is integrated for a flight test. The success of this test flight will set the stage for the remaining qualification test and unmanned mission leading to the first Gaganyaan mission with Indian astronauts. The mission aims to demonstrate the capability to launch human beings, three crew members to low Earth orbit and bring them back safely to the Earth by landing them in either the Bay of Bengal or the Arabian Sea for Gaganyaan mission. Four pilots are undergoing training at the astronauts training facility in Bangalore. Then next is Ganga Ghagra Basin Canal. Ganga Ghagra Basin Canal pose a threat to dolphins study. A recent publication by the scientists and researchers has revealed that 19 Gangetic river dolphins had been rescued from the irrigation canals of the Ganga Ghagra Basin in Uttar Pradesh between 2013 and 2020. The publication rescuing Ganga River's dolphins from the irrigation canals in Uttar Pradesh, North in India, 2013-20 not only highlights the capture and relocation method but also describes the behavior and the demographic details of the rescued animals and location of the canals where the animals had been trapped. The paper pointed out that 24 rescue operations had been conducted from 13 to 20 and 5 dolphins had died. There was 19 successful rescue operations and 14 dolphins were identified as female and 10 as male. The TBL total body length of these dolphins was found to be between 128 centimeter to 275 centimeter. The size of a male dolphin ranged from 180-128 centimeter to 195 centimeter, whereas the female ranged from 190 centimeter to 274 cm. Of the 5 dolphins that died, 3 had a length of over 243 centimeter. The paper said the publication said dams and barrages had severely affected this habitat as dolphins moved into irrigation canals where they were at a risk of injury or death from a multiple factors such as rapidly receding water, heat stroke and human interferences. The Ganga River dolphin is in Schedule 1 of the Indian Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Appendix 1 of the Conservation of International Trade in Endangered Species and Appendix 1 of the Conservation on Migratory Species. The species also considered the national aquatic animals is listed in as endemic endangered on IUCN Red List, though the species is not known to be gregarious. The researchers observed and handled at least one adult male and female together on 5 occasions. Furthermore, adult females have been seen with a calf on 2 occasions. These observations suggest that they may prefer to live and or hunt in the ports. The dolphin may either stray into the canal while the following prey upstream or get flooded into the canal by a sudden discharge of water from the barrage gates. The paper said the researcher also pointed out the higher proportion of the females to males and said in larger animals and pregnant females also look for an easier prey bed in canal system. Over 70% of the entrapment were reported either post monsoon or during peak winter. This suggests staying incidents are directly related to the release of water into canals during or after the monsoon. The other 30% of dolphins were rescued during the peak summer, but when water levels falls and the minimum flow is maintained. Also among the rescued dolphins, females were found trapped between September and May with maximum occurrence during the peak winter of December and to February. In contrast, males were mostly recorded post-monsoon and during the summer season with least occurrence in the peak winter. The paper says Salendra Singh of the Total Survival Alliance Foundation India, one of the lead author of the paper, said that the paper gives data for the 8 years, but from 2013 and 23, 28 dolphins had been rescued. He explained that the rescue of dolphins required expertise as it was a delicate animal. Keeping them alive after the rescue was also a challenge. This is a big issue. On an average, we rescue 2 or 3 animals, and another 2 or 3 animals may die in canal network of Gangetic basins every year without timely information. Considering that the dolphins are found in the Ganga, Brahmaputra, Meghna Delta, this is a huge problem to monitor this huge area and canal system. He said the other authors of the paper are Arunima Singh, Kripanna Datta, and Sanjay Srivastava, a senior forest depot official of the Uttar Pradesh cadre. The next, now a more efficient in inexpensive malaria vaccine. A malaria vaccine R21 matrix M developed by the University of Oxford, manufactured by the Pune-based Serum Institute of India and tested in a phase 3 trial at 5 sites in 4 countries, Mali, Burkina Faso, Kenya and Tanzania in Africa was recommended but yet to be pre-qualified by the WHO on October 2. 3 countries, Nigeria, Ghana, Burkina Faso have already approved the use of vaccine to immunize in children aged less than 36 months. According to the WHO, in 2021, there were 247 million malaria cases worldwide and 6,19,000 deaths. About 25 million children are born each year in the country, which moderate to high malaria transmission. The phase 3 trial was conducted in 4,800 children who were randomly assigned to receive either the malaria vaccine or a control approved rabies vaccine, and neither the participants nor the people conducting the trial knew who got the vaccine and who did not. The 5 sites in the 4 countries where trial was conducted had different malaria transmission intensities and seasonalities. The participants received 3 vaccines doses 4 weeks apart and booster shots at the end of 12 months after the last dose. The primary vaccine was carried out prior to the malaria season in countries where malaria is a seasonal or at any time of the year is countries where malaria occurs throughout the year. As per the result of the phase 3 trial that have been posted in a preprint server, preprint are yet to be peer reviewed. The vaccine efficacy at the end of 1 year in children aged 5 to 36 months was 75% for malaria is seasonal and 68% for malaria is perennial. In children aged 5 to 17 months who are more likely to die due to severe malaria, the vaccine efficacy was higher, 79% where malaria is seasonal and 75% where malaria is perennial. In children aged 18 to 36 months, vaccine efficacy was 73% where malaria is seasonal and 63 where malaria is perennial. The vaccine efficacy was well maintained to 18 months with a signal booster dose given 12 months after the primary series. Author of the preprint write, our findings are consistent with the data from a recently completed phase live trial at Norono seasonal sites where the vaccine efficacy was 76 and 77 over and on over 1 and 2 years of the follow-up using 4 dose primary plus booster vaccine regime in 5 to 17 months told infants they note the higher vaccine efficacy in younger children 5 to 17 months compared with the older children 18 to 36 months might be a sign that the vaccine is less effective in people who have already been exposed to a malaria. Matthew Lawrence, a malaria vaccine expert at the University of Maryland School of Medicine, told Science, and if that turns out to be true, then the vaccine might have a lower efficacy in areas with a very high malaria incidence where young infants are exposed at an early age. Waning efficacy there was some waning of efficacy over the first year of the follow-up at both seasonal and perennial transmission sites, but at booster dose it restored efficacy at the seasonal sites with vaccine efficacy over 18 months of 74% and Oxford University released the efficacy of R21 matrix in M is much higher than the first malaria vaccine RTS by ASO1 that has been recommended by the WHO in 2021, which had a vaccine efficacy of 56% at the end of 1 year in children aged 5 to 17 months. According to the preprint, even after 4 booster shots of the RTS by ASO1 vaccine, the efficacy was only 58% over 5 years. The results indicate that the vaccine was more efficacious in place where malaria was seasonal than when it was perennial. The author think that this may partly be due to timing of malaria episodes in countries with seasonal or perennial malaria. The study found that in states where malaria was seasonal, 82% of malaria episodes in the first year were recorded in the first 6 months of the follow-up, while only 26% of malaria episodes over the first year were recorded in the first 6 months at the heights where malaria is perennial. The vaccine efficacy is highest 14 days after the third dose and begins to slow when since the vaccination is carried out just before the beginning of the malaria season. The protection offered is higher when the disease is seasonal than when malaria occurs throughout the year. The authors claim that besides substantially reducing the number of clinical malaria cases at 12 and 18 months, there was a significantly reduced parasite load in children who received the vaccine R21 matrix M. This suggests that the vaccine may help reduce malaria transmission, especially when combined with other strategies such as mosquito nets. According to WHO, the cost of R21 matrix M manufactured by Serum Institute will be between $2 to $4 per dose. Serum Institute will produce over 100 million doses a year. Then next is significance of quantum dots in nanotechnology. Alexei Ekimov, Louis E. Bross, and Mogni G. Bhiwandi have been awarded the 2023 Nobel Prize for Chemistry for the discovery and synthesis of quantum dots. What is quantum dots? A quantum dot is a really small assembly of atoms, just a few thousands, around a few nanometers wide. The quantum is in name comes from the fact that the electrons in these atoms have very little space to move around, so the crystal as a whole display the quickly effects of quantum mechanics effects that otherwise would be hard to see without more sophisticated instrument. Quantum dots have also been called artificial atoms because the dots as a whole behaves like an atom in some circumstances. Why are they interest? Why are they of interest? There are two broad types of materials: atomic and bulk. Atomic, of course, refers to individual atoms and their specific properties. Bulk refers to large assemblies of atom and molecules. Quantum dots lie somewhere in between and behave in ways that neither atoms nor bulk material do. One particular behavior diagnoses them. The properties of a quantum dot change based on how big it is. Just by tweaking its size, scientists can change the quantum dot's melting point or how readily it participates in chemical reactions. When light is shined on a quantum dot, it absorbs and then re-emits it at a different frequency. Smaller dots emit bluer light and larger dot redder light. This happens because light from on the dot energizes some electron to jump from one energy level to higher one before the jumping back down and releasing the energy at a different frequency. So quantum dots can be easily adapted for a variety of applications including surgical oncology, advanced electronics and quantum computing. What did the Nobel laureates do? For centuries, people have been creating colored glass by tinting it with a small amount of some compound. How much of the compound or dopant is added and how the glass is prepared changed with colors the glass finally had. By the late 1970s, scientists had developed techniques to deposit very thin films on other surfaces and observe quantum effects in the firm, but they did not have a material per se an object fully designed by quantum effects. In the early 1980s, Alexei Ekimov from the East, while Soviet Union and his colleagues changed this, they added different amount of copper collide to a glass before heating it to different temperature for different duration, tracking the dopants structure and properties. They found that the glass color changed depending on size of the copper collide chloride nanocrystals, which dependent on the preparation process. A telltale sign that the crystal were quantum dots. In 1983, a group led by Louis Bruce in the US succeeded in making quantum dots in a liquid rather than tapped within glass, as in Dr. Ekimov's work. Dr. Bruce and Dr. Ekimov further studied quantum dots, working out a mathematical description of their behavior and how it is related to their structure, but both of them lacked one thing: a simple way to make quantum dots with just the right properties. A team led by the Moungi Bowendi at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology achieved this in 1993 with the hot injection method. A reagent is injected into a carefully chosen solvent with a high boiling point until it is saturated and heated until the growth temperature, that is when the reagent clump together to form nanotech crystals in the solution. Larger crystal from it the solution is heated for longer. Their birth within a liquid makes their surfaces smooth. Finally, crystals of the desired size can simply be filtered out. This method accelerated the adoption of quantum dots in a variety of technology. What are quantum dots application? An array of quantum dots can be a TV screen by receiving electrical signals and emitting lights of different colors. A scientist can control the path of a chemical reaction by placing some quantum dots in the mix and making them release electron by shining a light on them. If one of the energy level of an electron jump between a quantum dot atom is a conduction band, the dot can operate like a semiconductor also. Solar cell made with quantum dots are expected to have a thermodynamic efficiency as high as 66%. A quantum dot can also highlight a tumor that a surgeon need to remove. Hasten chemical reactions that extract hydrogen from water and as a multiplexer in telecommunications. Then a new tool to fathom the world of electronics. Then last one है how was mRNA research used to fight COVID-19. ये दोनों थोड़ा आप लोग पढ़ लेंगे. ठीक है, मैं थोड़ा इसे जूम आउट कर लेता हूँ ताकि आप लोगों को मतलब आसानी होगी पढ़ने के लिए. थोड़ा पॉज करके इसे पढ़ लीजिएगा. नेक्स्ट how was mRNA research used to fight COVID. इसे भी थोड़ा जूम कर लेते हैं. So this is all, friends. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and we'll see from tomorrow onwards. Okay. Thank you.